The Unequal Treaties. Since so many nations were involved, each trying to squeeze as much as possible out of China through those treaties, I'm going to rapid fire through each event, okay? Remember, spheres of influence from school? Yeah, here we go. First, let's define unequal treaties. These are a series of agreements, mainly in the 19th and early 20th centuries, where powerful Western nations forced weaker nations, especially in Asia, to accept unfair terms. Today, we'll focus on the ones China signed during and after the Opium Wars. Khanate of Kokhin. Let's jump back to 1832. The Treaty of January 13, 1832 granted special privileges to Kokhin merchants in East Turkestan, including free trade, the right to establish official representatives, and the circulation of Kokhin coins, all under Chinese sovereignty. A follow-up accord in 1835 further reinforced these privileges. While technically not part of the official unequal treaties, it has set the stage for what was to come. Britain. The formal start of the unequal treaties is marked by the Treaty of Nanjing in 1842, which ended the First Opium War. China had to pay an indemnity, cede Hong Kong, allow British merchants into 5 ports instead of just 1, and set a fair and reasonable tariff. This treaty severely weakened the Qin dynasty and opened the door for foreign influence. A year later, the British Supplementary Treaty of the Bogue added even more: extraterritorial rights for British citizens, and a most favored nation clause, meaning Britain would automatically receive any new privileges granted to other countries.
USA!
The Treaty of Wanhua, signed on July 3, 1844, was the first formal agreement between the US and China. It basically copied the Treaty of Nanjing, granting extraterritorial rights and including its own most favored nation clause. France! The Treaty of Whampoa followed on October 24, 1844. Similar to the others, it gave France port access, fixed tariffs, and extraterritorial rights for French nationals. In addition, though, it allowed for French consulates in China and recognized/tolerated the practice of Christianity. Treaties of Tianjin and beyond. In 1858, the Treaties of Tianjin, signed during the Second Opium War, reinforced and expanded these unequal terms. China was already weakened and even legalized the importation of opium. That same year, Russia signed the Treaty of Aigun, gaining control of land north of the Amur River and exclusive use of the river for Russian and Chinese ships. In 1860, when China refused to ratify the Tianjin Treaties, who would have thought, Britain and France resumed hostilities, captured Beijing, and forced China to sign the Convention of Beijing, which confirmed all earlier demands. Marguerite Affair. In 1876, the murder of British official Augustus Raymond Marguerite, after he changed his travel route without informing local officials, led to the Chefu Convention. China had to grant even more extraterritorial rights and open even more ports to Britain. And here are some more treaties. So, another Treaty of Tianjin was signed in 1885 between China and France after the Sino-French War, giving France control over Annam, modern-day Vietnam. Then, in 1895, the Treaty of Shimonoseki ended the First Sino-Japanese War. China ceded Taiwan, recognized Korea's independence, opened ports to Japan, and allowed Japanese nationals to run factories and trading posts in China. The slow rollback. Gradually, foreign powers began to give up their privileges in China, starting with Russia in 1917 after the Russian Revolution. Between 1928 and 1931, Chinese nationalists regained some tariff autonomy, but full extraterritorial rights weren't relinquished by the US, Britain, and France until 1946. Territories like Hong Kong and Macau weren't returned until much later, Hong Kong in 1997 and Macau in 1999. Thanks for watching! I greatly appreciate the fact that you stayed to the end of the video, since out of all my videos so far, this one probably took the most time and effort to make. And I just couldn't pronounce France for a while. I kept calling it Prance. But please let me know if you have any suggestions, questions, or corrections, and let me know in the comments. So see you next time. Bye!